In today's fast-paced world, there is so much focus on speed, crushing goals and attaining new feats within a short period of time. Although the results are often seen as enviable, the trend oftentimes causes many to overstretch themselves to meet up, even at the detriment of their physical and mental well-being. Unfortunately, children are also victims of this vicious cycle, which psychologists call the horrid child syndrome. As Nigeria joins the global community to mark this year's International Day of Education, stakeholders are calling for an immediate review and regulation of the school entry age for children in the country. They made the call during an interaction with top management officials of the Federal Ministry of Education this Wednesday in Abuja. Let's now join Clearview's correspondent for details.
Across the world, January 24 is marked annually as the International Day for Education to highlight the importance and contributions of education in promoting peace and sustainable development. As Nigeria joins other nations of the world to mark the occasion, stakeholders in the advancement of quality and inclusive education have expressed concern over the country's lukewarm attitude towards addressing key issues affecting her education system. At a visit to the Federal Ministry of Education, a non-governmental organization, a Mother's Love Initiative, and the Civil Society Action Coalition on Education noted that worthy of note among the issues on ground affecting Nigeria's education system is the horrid child syndrome, a practice of rushing children from childhood to adulthood overnight by skipping the process of natural growth. According to them, the future of Nigeria is dependent on the proper growth and development of children, and hurrying a child through life is a form of abuse that must be stamped out of the society.
Our ask today is for the federal government to see how our children to develop a policy that will guide the stakeholders to ensure that the Nigerian children enter school at the appropriate age and also graduate at the appropriate age. This early schooling, a primary 4 child writing common interest in primary 4, skipping primary 5 and primary 6 is really affecting both their mental development and also the skills and learning they would have gained while following the right process. We are using the day, the International Day of Education, that speaks to peace, to intimate the Federal Ministry of Education that we are demanding for a policy that will really channel to this so that the stakeholders will take appropriate step to make sure that the children go to school at their pace.
In China today, to be honest with you, before you start learning how to read and write proper in school as an education, you must be 6 years. And that 6 years is not that a child, even at your credit, that you cannot start doing something. You can start doing something, but do other things. Learn how to call daddy, learn how to call mommy, learn how to wash plate, learn how to sweep, keep the house clean, learn how to make things. I mean, you start from there. But when the school age, the proper school age, is that 6 years, and that is the only time they will admit you into school. What we are asking for, let these children, for future sake, enter to school at the appropriate age.
Everything we learn on a daily basis, from when a child starts speaking, forms the child, forms a nation. And that's why we must not take it for granted. Today, we have so much insecurity in our nation, and it is still tied to education. We can't rule out the space of education in it. Now, as out of school children are increasing, we realize insecurity is also increasing. So we need to address the fundamental issues. We need to start speaking to ourselves as a people in Nigeria, as a nation, that we need to get it right. And if we don't get it right, we'll keep going round in circles. And that's why it's important for us, and I just want to also advocate for this, that we do all that we can do to make sure that education gets to the quality education, not just education at the surface level.
In her remarks, the Deputy Director, Basic Education in the Ministry, noted that ensuring quality education is a collective responsibility and restated the federal government's commitment to providing a safe, quality and inclusive education for all Nigerians.
Some of us here, many of us here are parents, and I will say we are culprits. When did our children start school? They started earlier than what is in the national policy. So that is why I said, education, you play your part, I play my part, the government is playing their parts. We are talking about every child. What I can say categorically, that most of us here, our children did not start school at the age of 6. They started much earlier, which is against the policy, Federal Ministry of Education, that is stated in the National Policy of Education. And in terms of children out of school, it's everybody's responsibility too.
The group also used the opportunity to call on the federal government to review education funding in the country so as to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all.